Hello, everybody. Welcome back to America TV. Back again with me, Fifi. And I want to welcome all of our audience and members joining us online this evening. And I hope you guys are doing well and, of course, staying safe during this pandemic of COVID 19. And for those of you guys who are joining for the very first time, welcome to at America TV. At America is the U.S. Embassy American Center here in Jakarta, and our mission is to provide a space for young Indonesians to learn more about the United States through our events. And yes, we're temporarily moved to a solid digital platform, but don't worry, you can still enjoy us from the comfort of your own home. And today we're going to have an event titled Painting on My Mind, famous American modern artwork. And before I start the event, I'd like to give you guys a question for tonight's event. And the question is it true or false? The Museum of Modern Art, MoMA, New York, has one of the most active publishing programs of any art museum. I repeat the question one more time. Is it true or false? The Museum of Modern Art, MoMA, New York, has one of the most active publishing programs of any art museum. You guys can answer the question by commenting your answer at the comment box section if you are joining through Zoom. And if you guys joining from our social media live, just please drop your answer at the comment box for each platform. All right, I think that's it for me. And one more time, don't forget to take a selfie and tag at America's Instagram account. All right, I think you guys are ready to start the event. And without further ado, I'd like to pass it to our facilitator for tonight. Please welcome Natasha Budiman from Bartega Studio. The floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's class. So, who's excited to take tonight? Maybe you can give an applause or say, yes, I'm excited. Yeah, so we are here to have fun. And for those of you who have not painted before, don't be scared. We all can paint, and we will do this together. Okay? So before we start, I have a short presentation about Andy Warhol, who is an American artist who's very amazing, which um, will be painting his one of his famous artworks, which is the Campbell soup. Okay, let me start my screen. Can everyone see my screen? Okay, so again, today's event is Painting on My Mind, famous American modern artwork. And today we are going to be painting this special painting called Campbell Soup Can, which is one of his most popular artworks at this time. So thank you so much at America for collaborating with us with Bartega. So we are hosting a lot of online art workshops ever since COVID started. But so if you do want to learn how to paint, check us out and you can learn to paint with us. Okay, so for the schedule, I just have a short presentation for all of you. Who is Andy Warhol? What is pop art? Some ideas and themes that he covers throughout his time and paintings, the techniques that he uses in his artworks, and finally, a little bit of a background about the painting we're painting today, which is the Campbell Soup. Okay, and of course, we'll be together at the end of the session. So who is Andy Warhol? So this is a painting by Andy Warhol. This is his self-portrait. So he doesn't actually look like this, but that's his artist expression in the form of his artwork. So he was born in 1928 in Pittsburgh. So he was born in the States, in the United States, but he grew up there, but he finally worked in New York. So he spent most of his professional life in New York, and he also passed away in New York. So he actually went to college in the Carnegie Institute of Technology, which is now the Carnegie Mellon University. So for any of you who wants to go and study at Carnegie Mellon, that's also Andy Warhol's school. And he studied pictorial design. So he did a lot of advertising and design. And so after he graduated, he worked as an illustrator in advertising for a lot of years before he finally started his full-time career as a professional artist. And he is known as the king of pop art. And what is pop art? Does anyone know what pop art is? Maybe you can comment in the comment section if you do know about it. And so let's talk about a little bit about pop art. So pop art. Pop art was actually it started at around the end of 1950s. So it started to become really popular in the 1960s in the States and in the UK. So the pop art in the United States and then the UK is slightly different, but let's focus on the one in America, okay? And so this movement was actually started by a couple of artists. One of them was Andy Warhol. So there was Keith Haring, Lichtenstein. So they all covered the same era, and they were inspired by a lot of popular and commercial um, things around all of us. So this is completely different from the art in the old times where it's very traditional. But this time we just look at something like something in the supermarket, like, oh, okay, that is art. I'm gonna make that as an artwork. Or, oh, that washing machine actually looks like art, so I'll just make that as an artwork. So it's um, very different, very new, very fresh at that time, and it's very exciting. And the colors they use are very poppy and very bright, vibrant. So it's really fun. So what kind of themes and that they use for this this their paintings, especially Andy Warhol. So he painted products, money, shoes, celebrities, newspaper and magazines. And fun fact, so he did a lot of self-portraits, and not only of himself, but he also painted a lot of famous people, which we will see after this slide. And also another fun fact, he made most of he grew up in New York, and he actually survived making money out of commissioned artwork. So he made a lot of portraits for famous people, and that's where he survived, and um, he got his living from. Okay, so these are some examples. If you can see, he loves money. He painted dollar signs in a lot of different colors. There's a banana. Uh, the famous Mao Zedong, he painted him, and also a lot of famous artists, Coca-Cola, so something very commercial and flowers, just everyday objects that are very ordinary, but he makes them extraordinary with the colors and the vibrancy of his artworks. Okay. And for his technique, so he paints on canvas. So he does acrylic paint, watercolor, oxidation, and he is mostly known for his silk screening. So silk screening is actually more of a print. So he has stencils and objects. That's why he is also very known for his repetition of his artwork. So he picks one object and then he starts repeating all the objects in one big frame, in one big painting. And he also does some sculptures. So if you look him up, he is very known for his Brillo boxes. So they actually don't look like art, but they're actually. And yeah, so this is what we are painting today. This is the Campbell's, the very famous Campbell soup cans. And they look, if you look at them, they look exactly the same. And you would think, oh, he probably just printed everything and he just printed and just put it everywhere, everything together. But for this painting especially, he actually hand painted every single one. So these are actually hand painted. Only the little details, which you can see here, the bottom part, those are stamped. But most of the artworks here, the whole can is actually hand painted. So that which we will also do today. So we'll be painting this in our own style. So we'll be able to just make it our own can. It's very personal, and we can close this slide with his quote about the Campbell soup. I used to drink it. I used to have the same lunch every day for 20 years. The same thing over and over again. Hence, he made this as a beautiful artwork with all the cans lined up together, and it's just very beautiful. So, is everyone ready? We'll start painting, and I'll just stop sharing my slide and we can start painting. So we're actually painting it's inspired. It's not exactly the same as Andy Warhol's. And so in the example, we have Bartega. So you can change it to your name. So for me, I can change it to Natasha's Condensed Art Soup because I love art. And So I know everyone's different. We all have our own special hobbies. Some people love music, sports, or maybe you love art. So you can personalize your own hand as creative as possible. Okay. I'll just go to my spotlight my camera. Okay. Let's see. And everyone give me a thumbs up maybe if you're at Zoom. So is everyone ready to start? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So today I will be using a 30 times 40 canvas. So any size canvas will do, but I will be using a 30 times 40, so it's slightly larger. And I'm just using an easel for it to be easier for you to see my canvas. Get a palette ready for you to mix your paint. Okay, so get a palette ready, and if you haven't, get a cup of water. So just use an old cup that you haven't used in a long time, a very dirty cup. And mine is really dirty. Just fill it up with water. So you'll be using this to clean your brushes, okay? Today we'll be using acrylic paint just like Andy Warhol. And acrylic paint is water-based and they dry up really quickly. So within 5 minutes, it dries up really quickly, okay? And get your brushes ready. I have different size brushes. So I have a large size, I have smaller sizes. So just get all your brushes ready. You'll be using all the different sizes over the period of time we'll be painting. We have around 2 hours, okay, for us to paint. So we'll take our time. And get your paint ready. For me, I'll only be using primary colors. So I have red, yellow, and blue. Okay, so I have these three colors. And I also have black and white. So get black and white ready. So you'll be using all these colors. And finally, get some tissue. So with tissue, you'll need this to clean your brushes after you paint. Okay? So give me a thumbs up once you're done preparing all your materials, and then you can start. Yeah, everyone's excited? Okay, first step. So I already sketched a shape of the can. So if you have not, get a pencil or a marker or anything. I'm just gonna trace it. So draw a can in the middle. So any size you want, but just draw a simple can shape. I'm using a marker just because it shows more in the camera, but just use a pencil, okay? Or if you have chalk, you can also use a chalk to sketch the shape. So I'll just wait for, oh yes, Ellen, you have a question? Or I see your hands. I also have a list of questions.
No, I don't have a question. I just want to say that I'm okay and I'm ready.
Yay. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So everyone can start sketching the can, or if you already have it sketched, give me a thumbs up, and then we'll continue with the background. Oh, everyone has it. Okay. Okay. So let's start mixing for the background. So for Andy Warhol's Temple soup cans, they're actually very neutral color. Even the background is a neutral color, so it's a bit light grayish cream. It's not purely white. It's actually a mix of a few colors. So I'm gonna start taking my palette. Take some white paint. Oops, sorry, my paint. Let me grab my white here. So get some white paint. Put your white on your palette. We have white paint here. And I'm going to take a little bit of yellow. and a little bit of red. So just put a little bit of yellow and a little bit of red. So I'll be using my largest brush. So I'm going to take my largest brush. So it's around this size. Okay. Okay, so I have my white here. And I'm just going to take a drop of red, like very little, and a drop of yellow. Very little. Just mixing it up with my white. So I'm making like this very soft cream color. If you want to add a little bit of black, you can also do that. Okay, let me get some black. So you're just mixing white with yellow, red. Make sure it's very little. If not, it will become orange or cream color. And I'm going to get a drop of black as well. Black is a very strong color, so I made sure I just used like a very tiny bit of black. So just get a combination of a creamy color that you like. It can be darker if you'd like. If you want it lighter, you can use more white like me. If you're happy with the color that you have already, you can start painting your background, okay? It looks really pale, so maybe I'll add a little bit more yellow and red to mine. Make it slightly darker, okay? Just adding it like this. See? So it's a very nice creamy color. So you don't need to add water when you're mixing your paint, but if you wanna make your paint more runny, you can definitely add a little bit of water. So usually what I do is I just dip my brush in the water and then I start painting it, so it makes your paint more runny. So it's easier for you to just brush your paint all over the canvas like this, okay? So just paint everything in any color you want. So you don't have to follow me. So again, I just want to remind you, everyone's paintings will be different. So you don't need to follow what I'm doing. If you like bright colors, just like Andy Warhol, some of his paintings has green backgrounds or purple or pink. So if you want to do that, you should. The more different, actually, the better. Okay. So again, everyone's painting will be completely different, and that's what's amazing about art. So you have beautiful colors. If you want to do a gradient of a few different colors, you can even do that as well. You can mix red to yellow or green to blue. Any color works, okay? But I'm just using this really soft, creamy color, nude color. So how is everyone doing? Is this your first painting, or have you painted before this class? I'm just painting this, and I'm adding some water because it's getting a bit dry. So I'm just adding some water to cover the background. Is everyone here in Jakarta or anywhere in Indonesia? Anyone in Surabaya maybe, or Bali? What's amazing about the pandemic is you actually get to meet so many people from around Indonesia and even around the world through the Zoom classes that we have. So it's always amazing to just connect to so many different people. Can we paint another type of pen? Of course, you can paint anything you want. So this painting is inspired by Andy Warhol's soup pen, but if you actually love his other artworks, maybe if you want to make your own self-portrait, or if you want to make fruit, you can also do that. You can definitely paint anything you want. Or even the soup can, we will actually have fun with our soup can. We will play around with it. We will write our own names and put objects instead of just painting a regular can. If you'd like, you can add objects inside the can, which is the example. Okay, for I when I paint it, it comes sometimes it goes over the line a little bit, and that's fine. Okay, that's definitely fine. Because we'll be painting over the can afterwards. Yeah, so I'm done with my background. So I'm just gonna leave it, and don't forget when you're done with a brush, make sure you put your brush inside the water cup like this. Okay. So I'm just gonna wait for around 5 minutes until everyone's done with their background. Once you're done, you can also give me a thumbs up so I know when everyone's ready. Okay. Anyone have any questions or how's everyone doing? You can let me know. If you have any questions, you can unmute yourself or you can chat in the chat box and then you can answer any questions or if you want to share anything to the whole class or to me, maybe your experience seeing an actual Andy Warhol artwork. Has anyone seen his artwork before? It's really pretty. Let me look over the chat if there are any questions. Since we don't have music on right now, you can all turn on your own music in the background. So it's always nice to paint with some music on. It always makes you more inspired, more energized. So it's always great to have some music on. So you can all turn on some music. If we also have a Bartega playlist on Spotify if you'd like to check it out. Oh, how did I start painting? Okay, so my story, I actually fell in love with art when I was in third grade. So that was a long time ago. And how old was I? Around 9 years old. And I fell in love with this artist, with this impressionist artist. His name is Monet. Yeah, so I fell in love with his artworks and then I started, oh, I think I like art. I want to learn how to make art. So I took lessons, I took painting lessons. I just started painting ever since I was very young. I studied in the States and I actually studied art business. And I just grew up painting as a hobby, loving it. How about everyone here? Does anyone love to paint or anyone just started to learn how to paint last year, or maybe who wants to learn how to paint this year as one of your New Year's resolution, maybe anyone? Always great to learn something new. And yeah, I think painting is a great activity that you can learn. Or maybe journaling is also good. It's also for you to reflect about yourself and what you like, what you dislike, what you're grateful for. So is everyone ready with the background? I want to see some thumbs up. Yeah, I see thumbs up. Okay, so we'll start painting the soup can, okay? So this is very easy. It's like in the Indonesian flag, red and white. So I already have some red and also some white. Okay, so everyone probably also has some red and white paint ready already. So I'm gonna use my medium, or I think I'm gonna use my large brush. So you can use either your large brush or your medium brush. So I'm just gonna use the same brush as what I used in the background. Okay. So you can grab any brush, and before I will start with the white color. So just get some white, and then approximately half of the can, just paint half of your can with the white paint. Okay, you can't really see it, but let me just use a marker so you can see. So it's around half of the. It's around, okay. So you don't need to sketch it. You can just paint it. Kira-kira aja, okay? You don't need to be perfect. So I'm just painting half, the bottom half with white. So I'm just going to use purely white first if you want. And then later, after this, I'm going to add a few shadows with a little bit of yellowish or black. So just paint the bottom part with white. That. Make sure this part is quite neat, and then, but if it's not exactly neat, it's also fine. We're going to outline it with black. Okay, don't worry. Paint this like that. Okay. You can add a little bit of the cream color or like a bit of yellow if you want. If you want, I don't, or a little bit of yellow. So a bit grayish yellow like this, and just mixing a little bit of a shade color just to make some shapes here. So very softly and just making it so you make it more 3D looking. Just adding some shadows on the sides like that, very softly, just let it blend with the white. So just need a very little, if not, it will overcome your white color. So if I zoom in, you can see how it's very, very smooth. Most of the layer was white, so it was just adding a little bit of a color to make it more 3D. Okay. And once you're done with the white part, I'm just gonna wash my brush, make sure it's clean. If I mix up my white with my red, it will turn pink. So I don't want my top part to be pink. And usually every time I wash my brush in the water, I grab my tissue and I just wipe it off on my tissue. This, okay? So I have a clean brush that is dry. So this is what the tissue is for. Okay, so I'm gonna paint the top part with red. So for the red, so you can make it, if you like it messy, you can make it a messy look, or if you like it to be really perfect and neat, like Andy Warhol, you can paint it really smooth, just like one color. So just feel free to explore what kind of texture you like. So again, remember this is think I got signed up for it, but just cover your whole top part with red. Top part with red. You can also add different shades of red by adding a little bit of black and white to the red. So if you look at my paint like this, add a little bit of black so you get a darker shade of red. Okay, really mix it. You'll get see a darker shade of red, and then just mix it all up. Doesn't have to be perfectly tidy. Just mix it all up. This painting looks really simple, but the trickier part is actually at your, in the details. So if you're very detailed or you're a perfectionist, later reaching the end of the class, there will be more details and just adding some patterns or like the writings. If you're not used to actually writing with paint, it will be a bit tricky. So actually, if you do have a permanent marker, you can get that ready. So that's actually a good tool for this painting. So instead of painting I'll zoom in a little bit. You can see clearly. You can actually write everything in. For this part, I'm just gonna smooth it up for a little bit, just one with one brush, one going upwards like this. Any brush stroke, I'm just gonna focus on going upwards. Smoother. Okay, I think I'm ready. I'm done with my red part. I'm just gonna let it dry for a bit. How's everyone doing? Gonna wait for 2 more minutes and then we'll start adding some outlines. Because we do need to wait until the red and white paint is dry before we add the details. So now it's still wet. So it usually takes around 3 to 5 minutes for the paint to dry. So that's enough time. So let's look at some questions. Oh, okay, only 2 questions so far. Everyone doing okay? Actually, before we start going to the next step, we can all start brainstorming about what you love or what you cherish most. It can be in form of objects or even people you love or your hobbies. So anything about yourself that you think is most relevant to you, because this can will be very personal. So if you would like to make it just the can also do that. So it's very Andy Warhol. But if you want to make it more um, interesting, so for example, the ladies here, I know I love flowers. So for those of you who love flowers, you can start maybe thinking of your favorite flowers, and then you can actually paint the flowers in coming outside of your can. Or if you love, for example, sports, for the men, if you love golf, maybe you can paint your golf clubs coming out of the can. That's also possible. Or um, what else? What else can we paint? So for me, because I love painting and that's what I do almost every day, I will paint some brushes, pencil, and also some flowers popping out of it. So you can start brainstorming of the things you love, the things you cherish. If you love for example, you enjoy spending time with your family, you can paint some things that your family cares about, maybe what your dad loves or what your mom loves. Or another example would be if you love music, maybe you can paint some musical instruments coming out of the can or some music notes coming out of the can. So I'll be painting some of the ideas that I learned out just now later as well. But so it's just something you can think about and about what you would like to paint in addition to the can. Okay. I think most of you are done. Want to see some thumbs up? I'm just gonna look over. Yeah, thank you so much for the thumbs up. Okay, perfect. So what I will do next, I'm just gonna check. Okay, so bit is still wet. Actually, my wipe is already dry. So if you actually touch it, you can see if your paint is dry or wet. Okay, but anyways, I will start with making the color gray. Yeah, I already have the colors here. I'm going to use my medium brush. So this is a size 9. So it's slightly smaller than the previous brush that I was using. Yeah. So I'm just going to make some gray color. So I have some white here. I'm just going to add some black and white. Hindi ko warna abu-abu, warna gray. So once I mix the gray color, because we covered everything with red just now, so I'm gonna slowly make the can cup. I think most of you the red should be dry by now, so I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see. Okay, much clearer, everyone. I'm just gonna make the opening of the can slowly, so this shape. If the red is still a bit wet, it's fine. And then cover the whole thing with gray, okay? The top part, the color, this. You can also use a smaller brush if it helps. For me, I'm using a slightly medium brush, but I'm just using the edge. Just cover this part. Actually, I think I will be switching to a smaller brush. I want to do some details, so For acrylic paint or any kind of painting you're doing, usually use bigger brushes for bigger areas if you want to do color like a background or bigger spaces. But if you already start working on the details, you start switching to your smaller brushes. Okay. So I'm just gonna put this into my water. I'm gonna switch to a slightly smaller brush. Okay, I'm gonna use, what size should I use? It's a 5, not sure. Zoom out a little bit. Okay. And then I'm going to make a lighter gray color. Start outlining make an outline. The top part of the camera. By the way, if you do have any questions, don't be shy. Just ask away. Paint around it. It's still wet, but always just cover on top of it later. Need to stand up for a bit so it can. Light gray outline. Can you imagine Andy Warhol painted all those soup cans by hand, and every single one looks immaculate. It's insane how talented he is. It's just very artistic and it's beautiful artworks. And I can also start outlining the can a little bit, so you can either use gray or black. I think I will, let me look at more I want to use, and I use really dark gray instead of black for the outline. So actually I will start outlining. Just gonna add more black to my gray mixture. This. Everyone's very shy tonight. Don't be shy, okay? I'm just gonna outline and add a bit more black. I like my painting to be very bold and popping out. So I will change my brush into a smaller brush, so it's slightly smaller. So this is a size 1. Did everyone have dinner or had a chance to eat before class? Namakan lang semuanya. Don't forget to eat or drink some water while you're painting as well. Okay? Because you get tired easily. You're using a lot of energy. Oh, fun trick. If you make a mistake like me, just put some water on your tissue and then quickly wipe off the mistake that you did. So, for example, I made my outline slightly a bit too thick, so just cleaning it up. But you need to do it right away before it dries up, okay? And slowly outlining. So this is actually we're starting to get to the more detailed part of the painting. Just a lot of outlining, a lot of details, and oops, I got white. Right. If you prefer using a marker, you can also use a marker. Again, if you have permanent marker, you can actually put on your canvas, or even if you have gold marker or gold paint, it will be nice to have that around for this painting because I think having some gold aspects to parts of the painting will be really nice. Okay, just around slowly. Outline the middle part. Normally, all good. Okay, so I'm done with the outline, so I'm just gonna let it dry for a bit. Okay. Check on everyone. Yes, everyone please snack if you have not had dinner. You have to eat. Don't forget, get some water. Yes. Good job, Priscilla. What are you drinking, Priscilla? Tea or water or
Coffee. I just had my
coffee?
coffee.
Actually, I I have coffee, but I'm like, should I? Don't think I should drink it. Sorry, almost happened. I'm just drinking vitamin C for now. Everyone don't forget to drink your vitamin C and vitamin D, especially in this time. Everyone needs to be healthy, okay? You can be as, I think everyone will be very focused on the paintings, especially you need to be really tidy with the details. So this painting looks really simple, but it's actually very difficult just to make everything really neat. Yeah, all the details. Also, if you just Google Andy Warhol's Campbell soup, if you want to make it more detailed, then definitely do that, and it will be really pretty. If you make it exactly like Andy Warhol's, the detailing, I mean. Okay. Again, if you're with a brainstorm can, okay, what you like, what you want to include in the can. So for this part, for sure, you don't need to follow me. I will be following the example from Bartega, which is we have some paintbrushes and flowers coming out of the can. But if you have any other objects you would like to paint, please feel free to do so. Okay. Jadi I will start painting objects. Jadi if you have a pencil or you have a chalk, you can sketch your objects first. I think that will be easier. But if you want to paint right away on the canvas, you can also do that. Jadi, kayak example yang ada, aku pakai contoh aku pakai spidol just because it shows more. So I can start sketching the objects. Tapi don't use a sloop. I think a marker you can't erase it, so it's not a good idea. So I'm just gonna use a pencil, for example, and then sketch the objects that I want to paint here. So I'm just gonna sketch a pencil coming out. A brush. So I think by sketching it first, it will help you. Later when you paint, because usually when if you paint right on top of the canvas, it's gonna be tricky if you made any mistakes and stuff. It's harder for you to erase them. Yeah. So like for example, my pencil's too short. I can just increase the size of my pencil, or if I made any mistakes, I'll just grab an eraser and then I erase my mistakes. Another brush here. A lot of brushes, like all the different sizes, to make all the different effects in my paintings. For example, what else can I paint that I like? I paint most of my time, so I'll just paint more brushes. Then everyone, please just feel free to paint anything you want. I throw out some examples. If it's not in the example, that's or I can paint a larger flower, for example, like this. Or you can even paint random shapes like this, like just random shape coming out or paint flowing. I'm gonna try making like paint overflowing coming out of my. I'm just improvising here, so everyone can do whatever you want. Okay, I'm gonna outline it so you can see the sketch that I did. What kind of sketches you can do. So again, you can use your pencil, or if you have chalk, punya kapur, kayaknya juga bagus untuk sketch ya. Soalnya kalau kapur bisa dihapus on the canvas. So it's easier for you to really do. I'm just using a marker so you can see the different sketches that I made, which I will paint again after. Okay, I'll wait for 2 minutes until everyone's finished with their sketches. Oh yeah, you can't see the line. That needs to draw like that. Can you see the lines now? Yeah. Once you're done sketching all the objects that you like, you can start preparing the colors, okay? So I'm gonna paint my pencil yellow and then with my brushes with gray color. So I have most of my colors on my palette already. So you can just start filling in your outlines with the colors. Okay. So for example, I will start with my pencil. I'm gonna paint my pencil with yellow. I'm gonna make my yellow slightly orange. I'm gonna mix a little bit of red to my yellow. Okay, that's a lot. That's too much red. So I'm just gonna mix more yellow. I'm gonna mix some white. I always call it banana milk because if you mix yellow and white, the yellow is actually nicer. Good. Okay, so once you have a nice yellow or any color you want, you can start painting the objects inside the can. Okay. I'm using a smaller brush. I'm using a size 1 because it's easier for me to fill in the lines. If I use a larger brush, it's harder for me to control my brush strokes. I can't really paint the different shapes that I want to achieve. Can you guys let me know what kind of objects you like to paint or if you're painting other than paintbrushes? Because I feel like these are very specific. Maybe you prefer flowers or other objects that you want to paint. You can maybe write it down in the comment section so everyone can know the different hobbies that everyone has. Yeah. I'm just gonna make this a little bit lighter color on the tip here. I'm going back to my gray color. I'm gonna paint one of my paintbrush with gray. The gray is a bit yellowish because I mixed up. See if you don't clean your brush like me just now, the color gets mixed up. That's the reason why I always clean my brushes every time I want to change a different color. So make sure you have your water cup ready and you clean it with your water and then wipe it with your tissue, okay? But if you like to make your colors mixed up like this, that's also great. Sometimes you get colors that you don't expect you will get, and they're also very beautiful. This color. You can be as neat or as messy as you'd like. Again, this is your own painting. You can explore as many different techniques, so many different textures you can get. If you use a lot of paint, you can make your paint more 3D, so it looks more like being wool. Okay, and a dark gray. I'm gonna paint. Oh, I just realized I never put on any blue color on my palette so far, so I'm just gonna add a little bit of blue. I'm gonna make one of my shade of blue with random mixtures of colors. I'm gonna paint one of my brushes this grayish bluish shade popping out behind the pencil. Again, you can just start covering it with colors first, and if it looks messy, don't worry. Again, acrylic paint dries up really quickly. Within 3 minutes, everything will dry up, so you can just paint over it again for the details. Itimpa-timpa aja nanti habisin, okay? Nanti bisa outline, tambah detail, a lot of things you can add afterwards. Add some light gray on top here. If you have specific objects that you're painting, a trick that I like to do, you can Google the objects and then you just paint the objects and then follow Google or any objects that you like. Because it's sometimes hard if you just think of something and then paint it. So sometimes it's useful for you to actually look up the object and then you can follow the outline and then just draw the object in some other thing in your canvas. See the comment. Anyone? Okay, no one has any questions. Everyone doing good? Let me know if you have any questions, okay? Yeah, I see a lot of them. So we have around an hour and 20 minutes to go, so we're good. We're just gonna clean my brush. Does anyone know how to make brown color? I'm gonna teach you a shortcut of how to make brown from primary colors. So what you do is you mix red color and a little bit of black. Jadi ini aku mix my red with black. I mix red and black. And maybe a little bit of yellow. You actually get a really dark brown color. Add a little bit of white as well. You can, but this is more maroon. But then you can mix it up with a bit of yellow, and then it becomes a nicer brown. This. I'm going to use my brown for my mini brush right here. Are you all listening to music, or are you all painting in silence? It's always nice to paint with some music on, but this time we're broadcasting it on some other platform, so it's gonna be hard if we put on some music. So everyone can turn on their own music and enjoy your own tunes at home, painting on Saturday night with us. Okay, I'm gonna make a really. So I'm just gonna mix my brown with white. And I'm getting a light brown color like this. See, so the trick was if you want to make a lighter shade in any color, just add white. So white makes everything lighter and black makes everything darker. So whenever you want to make a darker shade of color, you just add a little bit of black. And if you want to make anything lighter, just add a little bit of white. And then you can control the color. This base color first, and then you can add the details afterwards once the paint is dry. Cover my outline. So what I like about this painting is you actually get to, personalize your painting, and you get to reflect what kind of things you actually cherish, what you like, what are your hobbies. And of course, it's also inspired by the amazing Andy Warhol. So did everyone learn something new today about Andy Warhol from the slides, maybe? And then we this one. So we can always just mix up all the colors and then you get so many different colors. Darker orange. This brush, slightly different shade. All my brushes are different and just gonna mix all the different colors. If you have any questions with the color mixtures, don't be shy and just let me know. Okay? Brush. And this is the fun part. I want to paint this part with different colors. So this is not on the example. I'm just experimenting my own painting. So you don't need to follow me, but if you want to, that's also great. So I'm going to make a Tosca color. Any more yellow? Add on the yellow. Okay, so I'm gonna mix some blue, some yellow. I'm gonna make green, so we mix blue and yellow to get a nice green color. I'm gonna mix it with some white. You get a nice greenish, bluish color. Keep mixing colors. You want to block your view. But you see, I get this really nice color that I like. This color. Start painting this part. Which color should I use first? I think I'm going to use this color for the part of paint coming out of the can. I'm just painting really abstract shapes. It's going to be really fun. My first color, I'm going to make a different color now. What color complements green? It's purple. So I'm just going to do a mini secondary color course as well. So when you mix red and blue, you get purple. Some more red because I ran out of red paint on my palette. The palette is very useful for you to mix all your paint, get them all together in one place. I'm gonna take some red and a little bit of blue or some blue here. Mix my red and blue together. It looks really dark now. Can't see anything, but just add a little bit of white. It's enough white, and then you see the purple color popping out like this. So it's really nice. If you want to make the purple color pop out more, add more white. And you can control the shade of the purple by adding either more red or more blue if you want to adjust the purple and the violet color. I like my purple already. I'm just going to paint my second shape. My swirly. It's just like paint coming out of the can. You don't need to follow me. This is just an example. You can add flowers instead, or you can add some music. I'm gonna add some music later too, like some music notes maybe coming out. Have you all watched the movie Soul? It's really nice. I think I added some pink as well. I'm gonna paint some yellow color maybe popping out as well. And white. This. It makes your soup can very alive. All the different objects that you like. This acrylic paint, again, what's great about it, you can layer and layer your paint whenever you can, so you can get as many textures, as many colors, and as many patterns as you can on your painting. Hmm. I'm gonna take a light blue one now. I'm just having fun with my shapes right now. Maybe you can show us what you're painting now. You can also turn on your videos and then show us what you have so far. If you have any questions, you can also let us know. But I think all of you are experts already with painting. No, don't need to worry. I got it mixed up with too much green, so I'm making it more blue now. There's a hole here, so I'm just gonna cover that hole with maybe let's see what color I can get just from a random mixture. Okay, a very light pink. So colorful colors. Okay, and then with that part, how's everyone doing? Oh, Karima has a question. Which one is your favorite Andy Warhol? That's a tough question, actually. I've seen a lot of his artworks and I never actually thought of a favorite. I think it would be this artwork for sure, because if you see the shirt I'm wearing right now, I'm actually wearing a Campbell tomato soup. I'm wearing what we're painting right now. Yeah, I also love his banana artwork or his I think his self portrait is very intriguing and it shows a lot of emotion. So I do like his self portrait a lot as well. How about you, Karima? Do you have a favorite artwork of his? Maybe you can start browsing for anything that caught your eye right away when you see his artworks. Actually, his animals are always very nice too.
Yeah, my favorite one is actually
It's
the
super cool.
Marilyn Monroe.
How's everyone doing? I want to see your artworks. You want to show what you have so far, maybe? Oh, I see. Oh, I see a cactus. I see some mushroom. Priscilla, Christopher.
I
Oh,
just put on some flowers. I like,
ooh.
yeah. Any
Well, Amira, Amira, what are you painting? How old are you, Amira? Amira Nadia? Let me see your painting. Oh, I see a lot of Pushin in your background. All the cats. You like cats? Alma, what are you painting, Alma? In the inside of the can? You want to show me?
Okay. Crayons.
Crayon! That's cute. I love that. That's really nice. Good job. I love the color. Oh, that's doing a great job. Okay, I'm just gonna start adding some details to my objects or before we start moving on to the writings on the can. I think well we can do that in the last step. I mean I think most of you has the red and white part is already dry. Whoops, I accidentally I'm gonna tidy it up. That happens all the time, you know, when your paint is wet and then you just accidentally and every time you paint all your hands are dirty like this. So that's okay. With acrylic paint, you can just wash everything right away. Okay? So don't worry. Just kind of, actually for the details, you can easily outline them slowly. I think it will help um, to make them look nicer. If you want to make it more realistic, you can outline them with a darker shade of each color, or you can also just use dark gray or dark brown if you want to outline objects. So I will start with my pencil. I'm just gonna keep the tip here. For details, everyone use a really small brush, okay? Use the smallest brush you have. I'm still using my flat brush, but if you do have brushes like these, like the really tiny ones, this is actually really great for details, these kind of brushes. But in the Bartega kit, we actually only have the flat brushes like this. So I'm just gonna use this, okay, for example. And you can definitely still make really cute and small details with this brush. Just be careful and just use the very tip. And I can zoom into my painting a little bit so you can see what the detail is. Just gonna so make everything more realistic and more neat, especially with the first layer. It always looks messy. Don't get me wrong, I'm also very annoyed sometimes with my first layer of paint, usually when I paint. And that's why I keep layering and layering. And actually, that's the reason why I switched to acrylic paint from oil painting. You know why? Has anyone tried oil painting before? Acrylic oil painting takes a whole week to dry. So if you're painting with oil painting with minyak, yeah, it takes a long time for your paint to dry. So if you wanna, what am I doing? I'm just changing the color of my pencil. Um, just gonna wipe it off the tissue. Yeah, so every kind of technique of painting has its pros and cons. Just like Andy Warhol, he explored all the different mediums, all the different techniques. But I think he ended up focusing on silkscreen and some acrylic, of course. But because he does like to get that kind of repetitive effect in his artworks, and it's more of the factory-made kind of result. That's why he ended up sticking to silkscreen instead of the traditional acrylic or oil painting, which made them very popular in that era of pop art. Okay? Just making some details of my brushes. Also add some white shades for the tip like this. I think we learned how to mix all the different colors except orange. Oh wait, I think everyone knows, right? So orange, you mix red and yellow, and you get the color orange. And if you mix it with a lot of white, you get cream color, like the background that I have right now. And the dark. I'm making a dark orange color, so I'm mixing red and yellow. Looks more brown. So I'm just gonna add this to this part of the details. And then you can add some black shades on each of the objects like this, for example. can either outline the whole thing, or if you want to pick one side, for example, on the left side, it acts like a shadow. So it does make the object looks more three-dimensional. So for example, if you pick one side, the left side, so imagine there's light coming out of this part. For example, if I zoom out, imagine ada lampu dari sini, like this. And then all the light of the objects is on the top right, and then all the shadows is from the bottom left. So you paint all the black and the darker shades on the left side like this. And then later we can add some white paint for the right part of each object. Maybe you can imagine it hitting the light. So you make your painting really alive. It's not just a paint. It looks three-dimensional somehow. Okay. Adding some highlights on the top. You don't have to be that neat, but just add some white highlights on your objects. Okay, I think I'm almost done with the details. I can just add some more flowers now. How's everyone doing? It's 7:30, so we have enough time for the details. Repaint over it more bright, vibrant. Mix that with a little bit of white here. So if you don't like a color on your painting, bisa ditimpa aja ya. Soalnya cepat banget kering, everything's drier. I'm gonna start painting some pink flowers, so red and white. Red and white and pink flower here. So this one I'm not sketching it, I'm just gonna draw a flower and maybe. And paint the branches with dark green. So I'm actually just mixing my green with some black. So I'm making a really dark shade of green. Jadi semua ditambahin hitam jadi lebih gelap ya. Just details on the flower. Alright, yeah. Okay. Draw some leaves. And it's not using my small brush. I think it's easier for you to control than just add patterns and objects. And add a flower. Dropping out of this part. That part is full of paint. This part is gonna be very flowery, very pretty. So it's really messy. I like it. Leaves. Add a lighter shade of green. I think by this point, everyone has their own objects coming out of their soup cans. So everyone's just really focused on their own soup cans, which is great. Everyone's in the zone. While we're working on the objects, we can again start brainstorming in your own minds. What writing would you like to include here? So in the example, it says Bartega's condensed art soup. You can write maybe your name and maybe condensed or precious art soup or sport soup or music soup. So whatever you have inside your can, you can start thinking about what kind of writing you want to include on the can. Okay. We have this. Make some nice greens. Part here. Wrangling my soup can. I'm curious, is this anyone's first time painting, or most of you already painted before this class? Oh, there's a question from Nora Yasmin. To answer your question, I have a question. I have trouble with learning color theory to mix paint to achieve a certain color or shade. I am very interested in learning it though. Do you have any tips and tricks about color theory? Okay, so actually, this is very exciting. Even I think I myself, I need to explore more colors because there are so many different colors you can get, and you just need to be harus berani with mixing colors. And instead of just using colors right out of the bottle, you definitely can mix it around. For color theory, I think if you want to learn more, definitely you can look online with just the basics, but I can give you a short color theory right now. So it's just the primary colors, you have red, yellow, and blue. And secondary colors, you have, so once you mix these three colors together, you get all the other different secondary colors. So when you mix red and yellow, you get orange. If you mix red and blue, you get purple. And blue and yellow, you get green. And I think after that, you just, whenever you mix a different color to work and all the different colors, you just get so many different shades. Definitely play around with blacks and whites. That will make your colors more grayish or more bright, more vibrant. And actually something to note, some colors like violet or like bright fuchsia pink, you cannot get right from these three colors. You actually need to dye a separate color because the pigment is a bit that we can't really mix it from the mixture again for that we got on. Yeah, but just I think Noah, if you wanna explore, I think the best way is to learn by doing. So just paint more, mix more color, and you will definitely get so many different colors and explore so many different colors. From three colors, or I mean 5 colors, including black and white, you can get amazing colors. And I'm just gonna continue from the beginning me, and then I'm gonna have more fun. I'm gonna make it swirl around. Ooh, I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna add some leaves. Out of my, I can even add grapes or fruits. If you love, I think in this pandemic time, everyone loves plants now. I think that's actually a great one. If you love plants, you can paint all the different leaves that you have in your house, or all the different vegetables that you actually love, or any kind of fruit that you like. Leaves and then add flowers. And just getting ready. Anyone else wants to show their painting? Ooh, everyone's really focused. Ini masih basah dikit hijaunya, tapi it's actually dry already, really quick. Right? Take my brush and then start drawing flowers on top of my greens. What color flower should I make? Yellowish orange. Yellow. And a little bit of, sorry, my palette is really ugly now. It's really dirty. But that's what palettes are for. You get all the different key colors. And you know the satisfying part? Actually, a trick for all of you here who just learned how to paint. Mm, later you'll have all these colors, right? You don't need to clean it right away. Just let it dry, and then you can peel everything off. And that's very satisfying, actually. I like to do it all the time. Paint the flowers on top of the green. We're making an updated version of a newer also can. I think they will be very proud of all of us. I'm gonna make some pink flowers on this one. Smaller ones. Just making this is like a little trick. I just make those 5 small petals, and then it already looks like a flower. So just 3 or 5 small raindrops shape, and it already looks like a flower. And a small brush to add small dots on each of my flowers. For the yellow flowers, I can add some red dots. Yeah, I like it 3D, something like this. It's just so it pops out a little bit. Just put a dot on each of the flowers if you have flowers. I feel like everyone's making something different now, so Definitely don't need to follow me. I'm just taping along with you guys, and we're all artists. And add more, make a lighter yellow color for the middle part. This one works. You can go back to detailing with the white. You can add some highlights to your can like this. Just a lot of detailed work. And have fun with my colors. I will paint patterns. And do whatever you want, okay? Make polka dots. So this is actually one of the more popular techniques adopted by another pop artist called Royal Lichtenstein. So I have a lot of polka dots, and later in the day, Yayoi Kusama, all her artworks has all the polka dots on them. Quite amazing actually. How detailed she can be. What else can I make? Just throwing some ideas for all. Or you can just let them be like this. Really want to do. Oh, and for music lovers, and music notes coming up. Yeah. Is anyone playing music here? You know that there's a saying, making music is like creating art, but in silence. Cool. So I think music is also a form of art. Just everything in the world is like art. Random objects, or if you're done, can start. You can start writing on our can. Okay, I'm gonna start doing that. So what I will do next, I think everyone should be almost ready with the detail. So if you have gold paint, actually you can use some gold paint in the middle. That will be really cool. But if you don't have gold paint, it's okay. You can make a yellow golden shaped dish with colors that we have. So what we will do is kind of mix some yellow and some red and white. Use my medium brush. yellow and red. Yeah, red is going to be dry. And what? So it looks likely like this. It has a really a yellowish golden shade. You can add more, a little bit more red too if you want to make it more orange. Just gonna make a circle in the middle. That's a circle in the middle. Okay. If you have gold paint, you can use gold in this part. It's actually really cool. Makes it pop out. This part can be a bit 3D, so just mix all the different colors so you can see a bit pops out. Add white. White for smooth and add a darker shade of red on the left side. Yeah, this is pretty experimental. You don't have to follow me exactly. It's just fun to make it more organic. Yeah. To get all the texture. Zoom in. I think we're almost done, everyone. Just the final step of writing your name or anything. It doesn't have to be your name. It can be um, your mom's name, or it can be your company, or it can be anything that you want. But I think for me, I will just write Bartega's condensed artsy. Okay. So this one is very personal. You pick whatever you want to write down. Again, if you have a marker, you can use a marker. I think that will help with the neatness, the level of neatness, or if you're fine with paint, and if you have a smaller brush like this, I think this will help. Yeah. I'm gonna start writing on top of my red part because it's dry already. If you're afraid of writing it right away with paint, you can also sketch it out with pencil first or a marker or anything like that. Me, for example, I'm using a marker just to know the spot exactly like that. Then I'm just actually, if you have a white marker, this will work, or black or gold marker, or just use paint. Just paint over it. change the color a bit. Use light yellow now. And just I think that would be fun if we make our own Indonesian version of this. Maybe, we can paint our own kecap manis bango or Indomie or, anything we can find in the supermarket that's very Indonesian. I think that would be really cool for Maxis. If any of you like this kind of technique, the pop art style, you can definitely explore, or you can look into other art eras that you prefer. There are so many kinds of artworks that you can learn. I'm gonna write art soup on the bottom part because I have all the different art materials here that is condensed into one can. Really small can. So you can mix and match with the kind of typography. You can do cursive or you can do block letters. Anything you prefer or you like. Kalau punya spidol, pakai spidol juga bisa. Okay. So I have my that's art soup. Oh, Ines has a question. Sorry, I just read your question, Ines. I want to ask you, how many tips of how to draw shadow on the hand? You mean on the bottom, or I think we can, because this is a pop art style, that's why it doesn't actually have like a shadow on the bottom. But if you want to draw a shadow, you can definitely draw a shadow on the bottom part. But if not, you can also draw a shadow on the one side of the can. Like for the example that I was saying just now, imagine there's a light coming out of this part, for example. So this all the objects on the top right of the objects has light on them, but the bottom left doesn't have any light. It's actually where the shadow is. So you can actually draw the shadows on the left side. Actually, I'll show you. I'll show you how to make more shadows. So I'll just use a medium brush, Ines. And I'm just gonna make okay, black, yeah. Black and a little bit of white, maybe darker gray. Darker gray here. So I can just add some shadows on the left side like this. But I think the shadow that you mentioned might be shadow on the bottom of the can. Itu bisa juga. Maybe I'll show you with my iPad instead. So, I'll show you in a minute. And Anita has a question. How do you get gold color? So actually, you cannot really make gold color, but this is so far what I got for my golden shade. So you mix red, yellow, white, and a little bit of black. Yellow, white, and a bit of black. So Ines, if you want to make us some shadows, this is what you can do. You see I added a black area on the right side of the can. So this is what you can do if you do want some shadow. So this is an example. Okay. Yeah, I think adding some shadow will be nice. It's just a bit, it's not pop art per se, because it's more realistic painting. And that's why we add shadow. Andita, gimana? Did you get your gold color? Okay. Uh, so actually, I am done. So my final step. So once you're all done with your painting, don't forget to sign your name. Okay, with any color. So I'm just gonna use white paint here. Wait, I'll just use black. I'm just gonna sign my name anywhere you want. You can sign it under here or under here or anywhere you want. So you can sign your name anywhere on your painting. Doesn't have to be your full name, can be your initials or your signature. And then you can also write the year so you always remember when you painted this painting. So we're actually quite ahead of time, but I know most of you are still painting, so take your time. Have plenty of time. I'll be here to answer any questions. Amira, how are you doing with your painting? And Alma, good? Gabriella, good.
Yep, it's good.
Good. Uh, Hari keren banget. Tugas status.
Yes, but I'm not
Whoa.
finished yet. It's a
You
little
know what? If any of you are Pokemon fans, I think the suit can actually look like a Pokemon almost.
Pokemon. Yeah, yeah.
If you make the shape a bit rounder, it looks like a Pokemon. So yeah, just come to your Pokemon too. There's something inside it. Your favorite Pokemon. Aku ada juga.
I'm actually drawing a panda. Let me see.
Oh, udah Ratu Ayu. It's a panda. Wait, I want to show everyone. It's really cool. That's spotlight. Oh, look, everyone. Panda in the bagus banget. Cute. Good job. What else? Want to show us your artwork? See, everyone's getting really creative with their artwork. So it's always very exciting to see everyone's artwork, beda-beda semua, and all really cool and pretty. Let me check on some others. Some names. Ellen? What was Ellen? We will from America. Julia, gimana? How are you doing, Julia? Felix? Felix, gimana ini? How's, how, how's your English?
Not
Oh, wow. Nice spotlight. Spotlight. Pelangi. Keren banget. Itu keren banget.
kerupuk apa
Kamu
sih?
ceritanya apa itu?
Kaleng kerupuk. Can of kerupuk. Can of crackers.
Ini semuanya fokus ke detail. Kalau mau detail lagi, bisa look at the real anyone. Wah, you see all the details benar-benar kayak beneran right out of the supermarket shelf. Very realistic.
Halo,
Yes.
aku gambar balerina. Maaf
Oh.
jelek. So because I'm a ballerina, so I draw a ballerina di atas
Oh, so
kaleng
cool.
Tapi tadi cat itemnya luntur, jadi mukanya hitam. Nanti aku tiban lagi.
Iya, oke. Iya, betul keren. Itu gimana aja? Siapa lagi yang mau show their artwork? Anyone from At America team who's feeling with us? Oh, look at Ellen.
Yes, Natasha.
I think it's not a pop art. I just can do the details. My hand is shaking every time I make a detail, so this is what I can do.
Bagus. Good job, Ellen. I love
Thank
the image.
you.
Itu kayak 3D-nya, impas tuh. Jadi kayak tanggung juga.
Yeah.
Iya. Keren. Good job.
Thank you.
Maybe we'll wait for another 10 minutes, and then I can hand it over to Fifi from America to wrap up the event. So just 2 more minutes. Take your time, everyone.
Natasha, do you have any advice for those who have never painted before and they're probably scared or not sure how to start?
Hmm.
Do you have any?
My advice is, of course, to just start. Get, I think all of you here already that this is a start already, especially with all of your painting. And kalau masih baru banget, I know it's intimidating, you don't know what to paint. I think it would be great, even for me when I first started painting,